Welcome to another episode of Boom and Bust. I'm your host, Tony Clement. I'm here at the News Forum where all voices matter. A key to the province's increasing trade with various regions of the United States is a system called Agents-General. Ontario has several representatives, including in Washington, D.C., Chicago, Illinois, and elsewhere. But I'm pleased to welcome Ontario Agent-General Jag Badwal to our program. He comes to us from Dallas, Texas. Jag, welcome to our program.
Thank you so much.
Maybe just explain in your own words what your role is and what states you're focusing on.
Yeah, Texas, Dallas is our headquarters, and we are co-located within the Canadian consulate. What does that mean? We also work very collaboratively with the federal trade commissioners. I represent lead Ontario trade and investment into 7 other states, such as Arkansas, Alabama, Florida, Louisiana, Mississippi, Oklahoma, Tennessee, and Texas being our headquarters.
Okay. And does that mean that you're traveling around to those different states, and maybe explain what happened during COVID too? Maybe that would be an interesting story.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting, actually. I was here last year. I attended a Distribute Tech convention in January of last year here in San Antonio. And actually, Premier and Minister Fedeli were here in Dallas, in Texas, in February of last year. We were talking about pre-COVID time. Mm-hmm. And I was here, and then I also reached Ontario in about the middle of February, and then I didn't come back until October because of the COVID. As you know, because of the COVID, that there is travel restrictions. And so we were not able to travel, and 99% of our meetings were all virtual. And we were, as you know, digital technology, that's played a big part. And as we are emerging from the technology, from this COVID, and some of the states are being opened, and I am traveling now, but meeting in small cohort and follow the CDC guidelines.
Gotcha. So maybe just tell us a little bit about what your goals are as the Ontario agent in Dallas.
That's a good question. Our role is, first of all, is to help Ontario companies to grow in our region. So I look at Ontario companies to help them to grow in or expand or collaborate or partnership in our region, about 8 states. And also it's a vice versa. So if there's any company that's looking to expand in Ontario from a region, let's suppose a company from Texas and looking to expand in Ontario, and we do the same thing. But we go a little bit step further. We provide them a confidential market analysis and report. Basically, what that means is that if they're looking into AI or fintech sector or especially auto sector, we provide them with a confidential market analysis report so that they make a better decision. And not only that, we walk with them at least for a year to see they're established, mm-hmm. and their growth, they're growing, and we provide all the system and procedure, whatever needs to be done.
So that is Ontario companies that are seeking to invest and set up in the states that you cover. You would help them analyze the situation? Is that how it works?
Yes, we can do that also. How we do it, because we have a good relationship with all the states. I'll give you an example. There is a company who said that we are looking to collaborate in partnership. So what we do is we reached out to either the Secretary of Commerce office or the Economic Development offices and see, if there are tax incentives or what kind of information or resources that are available for Ontario companies. And sometimes the companies are looking for capital funds. And we also look at, can we make a connection with venture capital funds and also with private equity funds in here. But I was also talking about the companies, especially from Texas in our region, who are looking to grow in Ontario. Our biggest thing is also attract FDI and to create economic activity in Ontario. And so our ministry does provide confidential market analysis report as requested by the companies from our region in Southern United States.
We're having a conversation in this episode with Jag Badwal. He is the Ontario agent situated in Dallas, Texas, but he's got 8 states, the Southern United States, as his area of concern. We're going to continue our conversation after a brief break. Please stay with us. And welcome back to Boom and Bust. I'm your host, Tony Clement, here with Jag Badwal. He is the Ontario agent in Dallas, Texas. Jag, love to understand a bit more what sorts of things, let's say an investor in Texas or Florida or some of the other southern states is looking to invest in Ontario. What sorts of things do you have to talk about with them? Are they looking at the tax rates? Are they looking at the red tape? What sorts of conversations do you have there?
100%. The first thing that when the company or investors looking to expand or establish in Ontario, we do just a bit of market intelligence and ask them, okay, what their ecosystem looks like. Are they looking into AI or fintech? What kind of industry they're focusing on? And the first thing that we do is, in order to access anything within Ontario and Canada, you have to register your company in Canada and in Ontario to access any government programs. Quite a few things that, Tony, they are asking us, a couple of things that what happens is the tax incentives. Definitely, that's the first thing. And also research and development. Third thing they also ask is what kind of talent is there? And quite a few companies, like give you an example, looking into AI and 5G network.
Right.
They're looking into saying that does Ontario have talent? And we say that Ontario talent is very robust because we have our universities. We produce over 45,000 STEM graduates every year. Mm-hmm. And so we have a ready talent and young talented workforce. So these are the kind of thing they're looking into. And also what are they looking into kind of how the ecosystem looks like, because the tech sector is Toronto, Kitchener-Waterloo, and Ottawa. Mm-hmm. So that is it depends on what they wear and what kind of a ecosystem they're looking at.
Let's take that further then, because you also, I know, have been dealing with the auto sector. Tell us a little bit about that.
Definitely. As we know, we have the top 5 auto manufacturers in Ontario. And the last, 6 months to a year, they collectively have spending the economy about $6 billion. And especially when you look at Ford, and Chrysler and GM, they're looking into manufacturing connected autonomous vehicle and batteries also operation, especially in Oakville.
Right.
So based on that is a huge investment. And so connected autonomous vehicles is a future. That's where we're going. And with that, we are looking at the batteries. And in order to have the batteries, we also need critical minerals.
Right.
And Government of Ontario just released a discussion paper on critical minerals, and this is really, really well received in here. And especially, that in Northern Ontario we have rich critical minerals, or rare earth metals, which are really critical to manufacture batteries.
So, are you getting some interest then? Are they seeing the potential in Ontario on that front?
Oh, definitely. There's quite a lot of interest. As you know, the biggest supply chain at this time, especially for critical minerals, is China.
Right.
So Ontario has launched a discussion paper. And Minister has released a statement about a month and a half ago. And so the discussion paper that is going to carry on. And we know that we in Sudbury, and we produced almost 40% of the nickel for all over Canada. And so our ecosystem is very robust. And so as the discussion paper goes through, that is the value that we are going to bring for investors on the table going forward.
And what about clean tech? Have you had discussions in green tech or clean tech?
Definitely. When you look at in here, the Biden administration is more going into green energy. And when you look at it, Texas is known for oil, gas, and energy. If I tell you about a month and a half ago, we had a kind of winter storm here. We had a power failure.
Right.
For about 3 days. We were without power. And that is when, we were thinking that Ontario has really a strong ecosystem in clean tech. We know about, I talk about winter, how to winterize the equipment. And so that is where it's going.
And we're back here at Boom and Bust. I'm your host, Tony Clement, here with Jag Badwal. He is the Ontario agent in Dallas, Texas. Jag, sorry I had to cut you off there, but very important point about clean tech, green tech. Please continue with your thoughts on this matter.
Definitely. When we were talking about the Texas ecosystem now, because as we were saying that usually, when you go to Houston, it's oil, gas, and energy. But in my opinion, in the last year or so, it starts to change. Having Tesla here in Austin and Toyota also being here, as you know, that Hewlett-Packard, a tech company, has also decided to move their headquarters. Oracle is moving their headquarters to Texas. So what I'm envisioning is that the technology will take over quite a bit in going forward. And especially with the clean tech, there's a lot of companies that are looking into diverging from oil, gas, and energy into clean tech sector. So that is also going to be an emerging field. And there's a lot of connectivity that will happen between Ontario and Texas, and that's what we're looking for.
Now, I'd love to get a sense from you what sort of Ontario entrepreneurs are doing well in Florida and Texas and some of these other jurisdictions. Can you give us a sense of what's going on there with some of these great Ontario entrepreneurs?
Yeah, definitely. As you know, Shopify is an Ontario company, just right out of Ottawa, is doing phenomenally well in here. OpenText is here. I just spoke with D2L, a Desire to Learn, a tech company that for classroom education, K-12 and higher education, and they're also doing phenomenally well. This was a small company originated from Kitchener-Waterloo area. And they're doing really well. I also will say that there is another company that's PPE. There's a manufactured PPEs from Kitchener-Waterloo. Pre-COVID, they only had 10 or 15 employees. And now they have more than 340 employees.
Wow.
And so that is a success story. And they are also looking into distribution of PPEs and products in here. When you look at it, and Austin is becoming a tech sector, San Antonio is becoming cybersecurity, and Dallas is aerospace and aviation, right, because American Airlines headquarters, because Southwest headquarters, and when you look at Houston, it's becoming clean tech, and also because of Texas Medical Center, it's also becoming a hub for life sciences. And we're talking only about Texas because trade between Texas and Ontario is $17 billion yearly.
Wow.
And even during the pandemic, we have increased the trade and investment with Texas by 2.75%. That talk about resiliency of between a trade and investment between Ontario and Texas. We have Florida, we have Louisiana, we have Tennessee, also Alabama. There's strong connections there. But our trade with Texas is highest from all other southern states.
Yeah, it seems to be that all roads are leading to Texas right now. I'm sure some of this might have been foreseeable, but maybe a pleasant surprise with all these head offices moving to Austin and elsewhere, and these clusters of economic activity. It's really quite impressive, isn't it?
It is, and it's not only the Texas is benefiting from this. From companies leaving California. First beneficiary is Texas, and second is Florida. And when you look at the tech sector in Miami, is also changing because that is also becoming a hub for tech sectors. Actually, in fact, I will be in Florida next week and meeting with Secretary of Commerce there and meeting with Enterprise Florida to make those linkages and connections. And especially in Florida, we also have the engines MRO and agriculture. Trade and same thing with Alabama, and then Tennessee is also pretty big in auto sector.
Right.
When you look at Texas and Florida, they are more than $1 trillion economies, and Texas is the 9th largest in the world. So we have quite a lot of linkages in here. So beneficiaries not only Texas, but also some part of it that spilled over into Florida also.
I want you to, we only have about 30 seconds left, so just give me a little bit of a taste and then we'll talk about it after the break. But the Ontario budget, was that helpful in terms of your job?
Yes, because what happened with Ontario the budget, they also launched a new agency called Invest Ontario.
Right.
And that has been really helpful. And we're going to work hand in hand with them to attract major players into Ontario.
Okay, so hold that thought again. We're going to take another brief break. We'll be right back. And welcome back to Boom and Bust. I'm your host, Tony Clement, here with Jag Badwal. He is the Ontario Agent-General in the southern U.S., just for lack of a better terminology. That's what I'll use for this. Jag, we were talking before the break about the Ontario budget, and you were starting to make the point that the latest Ontario budget by Finance Minister Bethlen Falvey, who was on our program actually, and talked a little bit about these things. But from your perspective, some of the other things that are important for your job that are found in the Ontario budget.
Actually, I would take on one. In that budget, we had the government of Ontario has launched a new agency called Invest in Ontario. And now we have the board of directors and everybody's in place. And the seed money is for attracting the FDI is close to about $400 million. So we are going to work very closely with Invest Ontario and also with our ministry to attract biggest players from throughout the world. Our emphasis is right in the southern states, and Ol Provo, who's in Chicago, he represents his states in there, and so is Ian Todd in Washington, D.C. But with working with Invest Ontario, that mandate becomes really broad, and that is throughout the world. And we're really excitedly looking forward to working collaboratively with them.
Super. I'm going to flip it around now to talk about President Biden and his agenda on Capitol Hill. Obviously, there's a massive infrastructure initiative that is part of the post-COVID spending that is wending its way through the U.S. Congress now. How can Ontario and Canada be part of that, do you think?
Yeah, we become kind of disappointed that Buy American policies are being reintroduced under the Biden administration. And what we are in Ontario, we are saying that instead of Buy American, we should say Buy North American. So we're still looking into what will happen, because it's the federal government working with also government of Ontario to make a strong case, because when we look at in the COVID world, our supply chain was very resilient. And when you look at the trade between Ontario and the US, it's close to about $400 billion. If Ontario were a country, will we be the third largest trading partner in the world with the US? So when we talk to them about these connections. Our businesses, our industries are so intertwined. And even the American Chamber of Commerce came against it, that they will say it will increase the prices, it will lead to job losses. So we will see at this moment what will happen, and as it goes through the Congress. But definitely we when I met with the Secretary of State in Texas, I definitely raised that, but also providing a solution in the senses that we should be talking about North America.
So is that part of your job too, going to the state houses and the governor's mansions and saying, hey, Ontario is important to you and we should make sure that we're increasing trade, not decreasing it?
100%, yes. And the part of it is that we are saying we are one of the biggest trading partners in the world. We have stood in thick and thin, and we should be standing together during this pandemic. As we come out of the pandemic, we should be strong bonds. Let the business. What we are proposing also is that let's have an open, kind of transparent procurement on both sides of the border. Let the best companies bid on it and get the contract. And this is one of the reasons that Ontario, we are also interested in with subnational agreements with different states. As you know, Maryland and Ontario signed a CEPA agreement, and we are also looking to have a subnational agreement with different jurisdictions. And our goal is to say that when we come out of this COVID, we come out stronger and united and together.
Well, on that note, Jag, we're out of time, but I want to thank you very much for being part of this program. Very interesting to see how Ontario projects itself in the United States. Thanks for being part of this program.
Thank you so much for having me. Really, it's just a great pleasure. Thank you. Have a good one.
Thank you. Well, as you can see, things are very dynamic in the southern U.S., particularly the states of Texas and Florida, and we've had the Ontario agent there. Very interesting. We'll be having more conversations in the future, I'm sure. Thanks for watching.